Hey, gang, 1 month from tomorrow, today's the 14th, 1 month from tomorrow, tax day. So truly tax season is upon us. Did your financial advisor pay close attention to the tax consequences of every financial and retirement planning move you made during the last year? The professionals at Cordasco Financial Network, Steve and his team are part of Mercer Global Advisors. They can help you out. They'll help you understand what taxes mean to your bottom line and structure a financial plan for your unique situation. So if things weren't managed the way that they should have been this year, it's not too late to call Steve and his on-staff CPAs. Let them help you better understand what you need to be doing now. Schedule a free financial planning consultation. So many of our listeners have become clients of Cordasco Financial Network and the gang at Mercer Global Advisors. Investment advisory services are offered through Mercer Global Advisors, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities are provided through Andrew Guerin, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Consultation with your tax professional, always recommended. Time now for the headlines from Smerconish.com, the daily newsletter. We have been discussing the growing divide within the Republican Party on Ukraine. Do you remember this recent poll from Smerconish.com, a subject of conversation, I know, between yours truly and Admiral James Stavridis? We had 20,109 people vote when I asked this question: which poses more of a threat to Ukraine, the Russian military or the growing Republican divide on aid? 56.89%, let's call it 57%, had the correct answer. At least I said so then and still believe now. It's the growing Republican divide. And further evidence of that now comes from Ron DeSantis in response to a questionnaire that Tucker Carlson apparently gave to all the Republican candidates, and, by the way, had a very high response rate. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a potential Republican presidential candidate, broke with many in his party on Monday and told Carlson that protecting Ukraine is not a vital interest for the United States, or not in the national interest for the United States. While the U.S. has many vital national interests, securing our borders, addressing the crisis of readiness within our military, achieving energy security and independence, checking the economic, cultural, and military power of the Chinese Communist Party, becoming further entangled in a territorial dispute between Ukraine and Russia. A territorial dispute between Ukraine and Russia is how he frames it, is not one of them. The Biden administration virtual blank check funding of this conflict for as long as it takes without any defined objectives or accountability distracts from our nation's most pressing charges. You have to believe that Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky are both paying very close attention to the 2024 presidential election as it takes shape. And if I'm Putin, I am thinking all I need do is keep this going until America elects a new president, flip a coin. Is it going to be an R or a D? Is it going to be Biden or Trump or DeSantis? And if it's Trump or DeSantis, the pressure's coming off me and they're going to stop writing the check. So, yeah, I think it really turns up the stakes for resolving this conflict in this calendar year, 2023. The response aligns DeSantis with Donald Trump in many respects, who, of course, leads the polls, puts him at odds with many congressional Republicans, including in the Senate, Mitch McConnell. So, interesting story about DeSantis. Mark Halpern has good analysis of it today in his Wide World of News newsletter. He says by taking such a position the way that he did, DeSantis is taking at least 3 risks. He's fishing in Trump's pond for votes, and a lot of those fish, they like Trump. He looks to many like he's unserious in his approach, and he risks forfeiting the chance to become the consensus Stop Trump candidate, alienating important donors, electeds, and thinkers who could, in theory, be part of a coalition of voices calling on other non-Trump candidates to drop out and unite around the Sunshine State Trooper. Yesterday, poll results from Smerconish.com. Should the government have protected all Silicon Valley Bank deposits, not just those at or below the FDIC limit of $250,000? Should the government have protected the way that they did all the depositors? The no votes, 67.97%, again, of roughly 20,000 people who voted. Today's poll question: is the Biden administration response to the failure of SVB fairly described as a bailout. Big, important semantic issue here. Why? Because no politician wants to be associated with a bailout. So the administration is saying, hey, we're covering the depositors. We're not covering the shareholders, the investors. This is capitalism. That's what President Biden said yesterday. So they're working hard not to call it a bailout, instead pointing out that the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation has a fund. It is comprised of fees that are assessed against banks, and that's what they're going to be tapping. But if you just follow it through, ultimately, like, who's going to bear the costs of those fees? Customers of the banks. Who are those customers of the banks? Taxpayers, but it's not tax money per se. So go vote on today's poll question as to what you regard this as. Is it a bailout? Is it something else? TC, I think my favorite story today, beyond the front page, beyond Ukraine, beyond the Silicon Valley Bank situation, is the AP government test administered in the Fairfax County Public Schools. Your thoughts?
Your favorite story?
Beyond the front page, yes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just kind of
It's a terrible question. Just toss it out. Why do you like it so much?
You don't like the question. Did you not get it right?
That's not the issue. What are you talking about? The issue is not how you answer the question. The issue is the framing of the question should never have been printed.
Okay, so here's the question.
What are you talking?
Here's the question, and
oh,
you have
no.
to.
You are not taking this seriously.
What?
What?
You have to sort of picture it. It's in two columns. Okay, one column liberals, the other column conservatives, and then you have four choices: A, B, C, and D. Which of the following is an accurate comparison of liberals versus conservatives? Four choices, okay? Choice one, for liberals, young white males. For conservatives, East Coast, Ivy League educated scientists. Now, does that sound like conservatives? Does young white male sound like liberals?
Wait, stop. You cannot take this. You're like trying to answer the question. That's not the point. The point is that the question should never have been asked.
I think you're disgruntled because you must not have gotten the question correct.
That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that it's an inappropriate question.
Everyone else wants to take the quiz.
Oh my gosh. You're actually you like this story because you like the question? Is that
Okay, that was choice A.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay, the liberal choice was young white males. Does that sound like liberals?
Oh, grant me patience,
For
Lord,
conservatives, East Coast, Ivy League educated scientists. Okay, here's choice B. Middle-aged, urban, lesbian.
Oh, boy.
For liberals. For conservatives, Southern male migrant laborer.
No, not
C.
No. Oh.
College. Is this what goes on in AP courses? I never had any. C. College educated black male professional. For liberal. College educated black male professional. For conservative, Catholic. Midwestern, middle-aged male. And finally, for liberal, white upper middle class suburban male, conservative West Coast Hispanic teacher.
Okay.
What is your answer?
That's not the point of the story.
It has to be
Stop
C.
answering the question.
It has to be college-educated black male professional for the liberals, and for the conservatives, Catholic, Midwestern, middle-aged male.
The point of this story is not to answer the question.
What is the point?
The point of the story is that the question is inappropriate. The point of the story is that the question is stereotyping. The point of the story is that the question should not have been asked, not, wow, what an interesting, great question. I'm going to answer it, and TC's bitter because she doesn't know the answer. What is wrong with you?
TC must not have gotten that right, but I think I did. I think it's C.
Okay, that's your takeaway from this story. That's just great.
C.
Fox News would not like you.
Why?
Because they're playing it on a loop, like, our woke things. And
they
also,
must have got it wrong.
There's some kind of mob mentality. Everyone's taking over.
I could do a whole segment on this. I think it's hysterical.
But you're not going to do a segment on the fact that it shouldn't have been asked. You're doing a segment based on the merits.
I get the idea. It's not the way I would have done it.
Oh, there you go.
I get the idea. I mean, it's a demographic question, ultimately, right? What else interests us from Smerconish.com, the daily newsletter today? I like the story from Vice about the death of the 9-to-5 job.
I find that fascinating. And
Why?
you and I have spoken both here and personally about younger people in our orbit. My daughter, completely non-traditional freelancing, doesn't go into an office.
Our daughter and son-in-law.
Yeah. And it's
Same
taken
thing.
me a while to get used to that. I admit to being much more traditional. It would make me more comfortable if she was like clocking into an office and working 9 to 5. Okay, not exactly 9 to 5. She's a more creative type, but just a sort of more traditional. And I've had to really adjust. She's making great money. She's off the dole. Like she's, she's doing great. So I have to adjust to that. And the 9 to 5 job is just not.
I just don't think we're ever going back.
They do not. She has no interest.
I think we are not going back. Yep. And the write-up.
But it's not even 9 to 5. It's not even. It's a traditional office job, which isn't necessarily 9 to 5.
The write-up at Vice, and I thought it was interesting. It caught my eye, but I think that the content was completely supplied by an insurance company. But it's okay. It's still a legitimate issue.
Yeah.
But I like this line. A new normal is around the corner in which we get to arrange our work around our lives rather than our lives around our work.
Well, and that's the attitude of the younger
people. If you can make it financially work,
that's
I
the
guess.
Point.
I don't know. That's what remains to be seen.
This whole work-life balance situation is something that I
feel
I'm coming slowly
I feel like as everyone else is retreating from the workforce and workplace, that I've never personally worked harder in my life.
Yeah.
Than right now.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Your instinct is always to do more. Always.
Can I share with you a work-related story that I literally clipped from the paper today? I only touch one paper. I read
you use scissors.
A few dozen, but I cut this out because I'm so taken with this.
What is it?
Did you ever see Phantom of the Opera?
Sure. Yes.
Where'd you see it?
I saw it in London and New York.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
I think I saw it in
Cats.
both locations. Okay. I mean, when I think of great shows that I have seen, Broadway shows that I have seen, Phantom is definitely up there.
Yep.
For me, and I share this in common with Donald Trump, although I don't know if he saw it on Broadway.
He likes
Sunset Boulevard.
I
love Sunset Boulevard. And Glenn Close in Sunset Boulevard was one of the high points of me on Broadway.
That's awesome.
Just love it. But Phantom is closing on Broadway in April.
Oh.
Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So there is a story in the Times today. It's more of a photo story, but it says this. The photographer Jack Manning captured this photo of crowds waiting to get into the theater to see Phantom during its inaugural year, 1988. The show's pit orchestra, Broadway's largest, holds 27 full-time musicians. 11 of them have been with Phantom since it opened.
Oh,
yeah, that was my reaction too.
Cool.
I thought that was great.
That is fantastic.
If you had said to me how many of the 27 are left, I would have said, I don't know, 2.
That is
I liked
honestly
11.
the coolest thing.
Yeah,
almost half.
I thought it
really
was
cool.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't like my quiz. I get that. How about the story that is also posted at Smerconish.com today? They all are, if we reference them. From CBS News, White House says Pence should apologize for homophobic joke about Buttigieg. Do you regard the joke as homophobic? Here's what it is. And again, the context here is the Gridiron Dinner. The Gridiron Dinner, which I think is still white tails. In a speech at the annual Gridiron Club dinner in Washington on Saturday, Pence said Buttigieg, who is the first openly gay cabinet secretary in U.S. history, took maternity leave while Americans faced airline problems in 2021. Here's the joke. Pete is the only person in human history to have a child, and everyone else gets postpartum depression.
I thought the joke was the homophobic part of it was the maternity leave part.
Do you regard that as
Oh, yeah.
You think that's
Come on.
homophobic?
Oh, for sure. From Pence? Yes. For sure.
Buttigieg and his husband, Chasten.
Considering he thinks it's a sin, yeah. I think anything he says about a gay couple having a baby is going to be dicey. You don't think saying like a gay person taking maternity leave is
I focused on I thought the punchline was when I mean the part that I don't find homophobic, do not, is when he says Pete's the only person in human history to have a child and everyone else gets postpartum depression. I thought that was clever and based on the headlines. Yeah.
Oh, you did? You didn't think it was because I took it to mean that there was such a slice of this country that was unsettled by a gay couple having babies.
No.
That's what they were depressed about.
No, it was I thought it as a reference to all the problems in travel, planes, trains, and automobiles, all the issues we've talked about, the FAA completely being shut down, Southwest Airlines, et cetera, et cetera. I thought it was him saying that Pete was on maternity leave, and here is what transpired. Paternity leave, right?
Gotcha.
And here's what transpired for the rest of the country.
Oh, no.
We had postpartum depression, which were his words.
Correct, but I took his postpartum depression words as people being unsettled at a gay couple having babies.
You remember Dwight from The Office?
Of course.
That's what she said.
No, that's not. That's Steve Carell.
So Rainn Wilson is the actor calling out
Bears, Battlestar
anti-Christian bias after the Last of Us character reveal. The Office star Rainn Wilson is getting real about what he perceives as anti-Christian bias in the entertainment industry after a recent episode of HBO's The Last of Us. That's getting a lot of buzz. I haven't seen it.
I got. Maybe we better watch it.
Introduced a pastor whose character took a turn for the worse. Quote, I do think there is anti-Christian bias in Hollywood, he tweeted on Saturday. As soon as the David character in The Last of Us started reading from the Bible, I knew he was going to be a horrific villain. Could there be a Bible-reading preacher on a show who is actually loving and kind?
That's interesting.
Not only interesting, he's right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've noticed that?
Oh, I definitely do.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I definitely do. I believe that there is an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood? I do.
Oh, listen to you.
And I couple it.
And you want to go like, wow, the six is calling.
And I couple it with this story. Thank you, Cardinal Dolan.
Ooh.
Thank you, Cardinal Dolan, who is allowing special dispensation so that on March 17, St. Patrick's Day falling on a Friday, it's okay to have corned beef and cabbage. I love corned beef and cabbage.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah, I love corned beef and cabbage with
all the time.
With mustard.
Of course.
Oh.
And
I have one more story, so you better hurry.
Okay.
Most importantly, you're going to want to hear it.
As part of your rediscovering your faith.
I'm trying to stay away from meat. Yeah,
okay, that's
on
what
Fridays.
I wondered. On Fridays, you are. Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting.
I am.
How are you doing on that?
Pretty well. You know, taking this, leaving that, taking it. It's in my head, and if I have a choice, I exercise it.
What do you mean, if you have a choice? You always have a choice.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter, I put this on the list. I knew that TC would have an opinion out of allegiance to Colbert and Mary. Is pickleball the next American pastime?
Yes.
Or will the hype fizzle out?
Hey, that could be a good Sunday poll question. So, yes, you're right. My sister-in-law, Mary Cannon, is one of the co-founders of City Pickle in New York City.
Oh, my God. You mentioned this every opportunity
City
you
Pickle,
can. You
City
stick
Pickle,
this in.
City Pickle.
Do you know that my cousin...
I'm deeply involved
Do you know that my cousin Bill is a dentist in upstate Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
And he's a, pickleball champion.
It's so cool. I mean,
he plays competitively.
Yeah.
He's older than I am.
Yes.
You know, he's older than I am probably by, I don't know, maybe 7 years.
Well, pickleball has been around for a while. It's not like a new sport.
Since
it's
the
like
60s.
a new resurgence.
Since the 60s, I've just read.
Yes. I'm really excited about it. And the thing, I think the reason that it's so popular is that people, I'm not a good tennis player, but I can hold my own at pickleball. It's fun.
I need to try it.
It's fun.
I need to try it.
I feel like you would like it.
Yeah, I would like to give it a shot.
Yeah.
I would like to give it a shot.
Well, hey, hang out with Colbert and Mary.
Yeah, I don't know. I just cleaned my golf clubs yesterday.
Yeah, you did? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're feeling like spring is in the air, and today's one of the coldest days we've had.
Not only have I cleaned my clubs, but I've also, I'm ready for the garden.
I see that.
I have seeds.
Are things growing inside?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Are you following me on Instagram?
I know, that's what I'm wondering.
My peppers.
Have you plotted the path?
So here's the very quick report.
Please.
The quick report is that right now, if you look at my Instagram feed, ladies and gentlemen, you will see that I have tomatoes and peppers planted in the family room.
Good.
One of our sons helped me out with this, and I really appreciate his support. And I don't know if I've said this on air yet. I've installed a time-lapse camera in my garden.
This is going to be the coolest thing.
And again, same son, mounted it in a permanent kind of a position. We've tested it. It takes a snap every, did he tell me 10 seconds, I think?
Okay.
And it's amazing. And I wanted to, before I touch any of the dirt, I'm about to put manure in the garden.
Oh.
I didn't want to do anything until the camera's rolling.
Okay.
Camera's rolling.
Okay.
So I am taking my gardening video game to a whole new level, or so I think, this year.
Okay, but remember, nothing in the ground until after Mother's Day.
And I'm
May 14th.
And I'm encouraging people to grow with me.
Okay.
So many people, the most popular thing that I seem to do on social media is my garden. Okay, don't just watch me. Go get some seeds. Go get some seeds and plant and garden with me at the exact same time. College-educated black male professional.
Oh, jeez.
Catholic, Midwestern, middle-aged. It has to be C. It has to be C, right? That's the answer. It's got to be. Ladies and gentlemen, go vote at Smerconish.com. Thank you so much for subscribing to the newsletter, following me on Instagram, subscribing to the YouTube channel, ring the bell. You know all these sort of things. I hope you're doing them. We are appreciative. See you tomorrow.